You're listening to the Media Man Dan podcast. Let's rock!
You in a cane? You wanna see crazy? Yo, I'm about to go crazy, bruh. Let's go, man. Yeah. Go crazy, go crazy, go crazy. They wanted a feature but can't even pay me. I feel like an outsider just like I'm Swayze. I told you I'm crazy, no way you can save me. My spot is forever, your only endeavor. Impact on the scale, tell me how do you measure? I know that it's hard when you put it together, but I am the future, there is no one better. Oh, wait, did the race say that speed so heat that he might need a tic-tac? Lose your breath if we ran on the same track. Feel like I'm Uzi cause I got my space back sending 1,000. You know it's a life stack down to a digital. I need a Mac Black, I am too focused. There's no way to relax. Area the game in my 100 backpack.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
flow, bro. What a fucking flow. Yo, I completely understand why you wanted me to react to this song. Holy shit, that was awesome. What's up, guys, and welcome to the Media Man Dan podcast. Today, I have an awesome guest with me, as I always do. This is the artist known as Crimson Red. And this gentleman is a masterful wordsmith, but he's hiding behind this simple melodic rap style. And I would love to know how he got to the level that he's at right now, where he can literally do any genre that he wants to in the genre of hip-hop, or subgenre, I should say. Welcome, Crimson. How are you doing? Welcome to the podcast.
Bro, thank you for having me on here. I'm doing fantastic. I've been looking forward to this so much. You have no idea.
And I need to know, Punkinator 3000. There's got to be a name, reason for this name. Is this a gamer tag? Is this your new brand that you're working on?
So back in the Xbox 360 days, I was like 12, 13 or something like that. So at that age, you have like the okay, I'm gonna come up with like this weird, cool name kind of thing. And did you ever watch Phineas and Ferb?
I love Phineas and Ferb.
So Dr. Doofenshmirtz is one of my favorite characters on there, and everything had a Nator in the end. So
I get where you're going now.
I decided that I was just like, all right, I'm gonna be Punk, add a Nator, and then he always had like a weird number at the end. So I was like, you know what, 3000 sounds good. So I had that gamer tag for so long, and then when I need to make an email for like Gmail and stuff like that, I was like, all right, I'll do 3001, and then I kept it ever since. I get so many questions about that.
That is awesome. I'm so glad there's a story behind it. It's not like some default name that they're like, here you go, here's the Xbox choice for you, because you get that every so often when you had to like renew your Xbox Live Gold pass. Mm-hmm. All the good old days on that system, man.
I mean, there's some good ones that Xbox gives out. Like my one friend had what was it? It was like Elated Cat or something like that. And I was like, please change that. I was like, I'm not trying to go into Black Ops 2 lobbies with Elated Cat 45. Like, I don't want to do that.
We had a couple of games where we would just go through people's names. I was playing Halo Reach all the time, and we had this one dude. It was terrible. His name was Uncoupled Boot. Like, where the fuck does that come from? That's AI generation right there. People are like, they're like, AI next best thing, and I'm like, are you sure that guy got uncoupled?
It's like, it's good now, but were you in the 360 era? Because it was not back then.
That's the truth. That's the truth. And the original Xbox too. Oh my gosh, that tank of a system. That I missed out on almost everything on that except for I think my cousins had the 360 by that time, but Halo 3 came out, and that's what got me into Halo, and that's what actually made me want an Xbox. I was a PS2 kid for the longest time.
Yeah, same.
Oh, you were as well?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, my first console was the GameCube, and I played Super Mario Sunshine and Luigi's Mansion. Oh, but then I got a PS2. And then once it was finally like my first like games and stuff like that, that was the 360. Because that's when my parents were like, all right, you can have your own gaming console. And like, that's when I found out about online and like Call of Duty and stuff like that.
That's
But yeah.
awesome, dude. So let's see. Super Mario Sunshine, one of the greatest Mario games, highly underrated by a lot of the
Oh
fan
my God,
base.
yeah.
Yeah, and also Luigi's Mansion, the darker version of Super Mario Sunshine. What is your
Yeah.
favorite between the two? Because man, I got scared of Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah, nah. When Luigi's Mansion came out, or at least when I played it, I was a kid and I actually had a nightmare from it. And it's crazy to think about now that back then, I think that game is like rated E10 or something like that. And like it's a pretty it's a pretty crazy game like in concept and stuff like that. But I think personally I put a lot more time into Sunshine for sure.
Awesome. That's a
Because it
great game.
definitely yeah, because it definitely got into the point where that kind of also got me into speed running and stuff like that, or at least into the community. Because I did a lot with Odyssey for like speed runs and stuff like that.
I still have to
But
play
it's
that.
oh, it's honestly think Sunshine, but on a much bigger scale, like a massive scale.
But what about
It's such a good
Galaxy?
game.
Is Galaxy good too?
I played the first one, but I didn't play the second one. But I
Ah,
did hear good things about that too.
all right. Well, I'm going to take your note for all of that because I have this old system called a Wii in the house,
Oh
and
yeah.
I know that these games are on that, so I could actually try them out, see how they are. GameCube, though, oh my gosh, my friend had one, and I was so jealous because I didn't have any Nintendo systems. I would always go to other places, like
Mhm.
Christmas parties and stuff like that. It was my cousins and their N64, their GameCube, their Wii, their all of that. So when we finally got the Wii in like 2008, I was graduating 8th grade at that time. I was like, yo, I'm finally one of those Nintendo kids. And just like
Yeah, I'm
everybody,
a Nintendo gamer. Let's go.
yeah, just like everybody else, you outgrow it so fast and it just collects dust because you either change to Xbox or PlayStation.
Yeah.
And yeah, as soon as the online gameplay was taken off of the Wii, I was so happy that I had an Xbox because
Oh my God, yeah.
I was like, yeah, I mean, for the time being with Brawl coming out and stuff like that, that was
Yep.
awesome.
Yeah, because I was gonna say that that's another I would say honestly, Sunshine and Melee are kind of here when it comes to like GameCube for me, honestly.
Oh
And
yes.
Brawl is definitely I spent way too much time on that game. And the online side of it all was oh my God, that was so terrible. Especially compared to like 360. Like 360 was consistent. And you know, it was all about like how good your Wi-Fi was. On the Wii, you played online for like maybe 3 seconds and it looked like a PowerPoint presentation. It was all like glitchy and stuff like that. I don't miss that.
That is the truth. And yeah, that was their beginning of Wi-Fi, so we didn't
Yeah.
have the greatest of speeds yet to
I was gonna say we were there for the struggle. But
yeah.
we're so glad where it came out to, for sure.
I am very happy to know that my generation was I'm pretty sure our generation was the one that grew up with Google as
Yeah.
being a new product that exists because oh my gosh, before Google, that's a challenge. There's a lot of things that do not work well, especially the internet. 10 minutes of
Mm-mm.
loading with your dial-up connection and all of that.
Nah, it's crazy nowadays. To kind of talk to like different people, and it's just like, oh, VHS this, floppy, even floppy disk that, and people are just like, what's a VHS and whatnot. I'm like, what do you mean, what's a VHS? Because floppy disks were kind of going, I would say, kind of going out when I was in middle school, and flash drives were like the main thing. And I talk to people about this all the time. It's like you can get like a 1 terabyte for like $50 or whatever. I was like, 1 gigabyte was like $50 when I started like coming up and stuff like that. So
Hell yeah.
technology moves fast. Like right now, like I just picked up the new 15 Pro Max and stuff like that, and like the speeds of everything and the quality of like recording on the camera and whatnot. It's not like that how it was back then, and everything's just moving so fast. It's honestly amazing for technology.
Oh yeah, and all the games that we played on those like really bad graphics of PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, like that came from movies and stuff like that. I remember
Yeah.
thinking that the Transformers game that came out for the movie in 2007 was like the clearest picture you could ever see.
Oh my God. Yeah. I went back on like even like Black Ops 2, like all the 360 games. And I remember back then playing it, it's like, yo, the graphics are insane and all that kind of stuff. And now as I got older, I stopped playing a lot of multiplayer games and I just do more like single player. And now single player games look like actual like movies. Like they even sometimes look better than the movies itself. And I'm just like I go back to the old games, I'm like, ugh. Like I was like, I thought
Th-
this looked amazing.
That's the great thing about people that still play Minecraft. They don't have to worry about that because they're
Oh yeah.
constantly stuck with bad graphics.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like what that look like in 2008. Oh, the same. Okay, cool.
But anyway, I was holding up this incredible VHS tape of Power Rangers Time Force. Do you have any history with Power Rangers?
I actually surprisingly don't.
You do
My
not.
family, yeah, no, surprisingly, my family, it was really I don't want to say against Power Rangers and stuff like that, but it was just something that they never like put me onto.
Gotcha.
And then as I got older, I was just kind of like I was kind of more into like superheroes for sure. Like Marvel, DC kind of stuff.
Nice.
Um and then like of course cartoons and whatnot. But yeah,
Yes.
no, like it's kind of it's always like a weird like awkward thing where it's just like, oh, did you grow up with Power Rangers? It's like actually I didn't. It was weird. But as I got older, I've been doing a little bit more because I'm just like, oh well, let me see what I missed out on. But it's kind of cool. It's kind I won't lie.
Totally, dude. And yeah, I remember a lot of people were complaining about the violence and stuff for it because, people are actually live action fighting. So, of course, people that have kids, specifically boys, would be like, "Oh no, we can't have that on because they're going to just punch each other all day."
Oh,
But
bro, I grew up on wrestling. That's one thing I grew up on was wrestling. So
oh hell
I
yeah. All right. Well, let's dive deep into your history here. What is one of your favorite wrestlers, or who is one of your favorite wrestlers?
Jeff Hardy, no
Jeff
doubt.
Hardy.
Jeff Hardy, no doubt.
Bro, are you an AEW fan?
Um, I I catch up on wrestling, so every time that there is a WWE pay-per-view, I go over to my best friend's house and we watch wrestling.
Okay.
And I basically keep up with like Raw, SmackDown, and AEW through like YouTube clips and stuff like that.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, just because like as busy as I am, I try and find time for like the stuff that I like to do and whatnot. But I did see about Edge coming back, and that was crazy
Yes.
to me. I did see that tonight. I saw that yesterday. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I didn't know who he was, first of all, because they use the real names. They can't use the titles that they have for
Yeah.
WWE. So my brother was like, "That's Edge." I'm like, "What? The dude has
Yeah.
been around since I was like born. Oh my gosh, he's joining this. There's gonna be so much epicness." And yeah, when the Hardy Boys came, I was like, "Whoa, whoa, okay, all right." I'm getting nostalgia, even though I barely had any time with wrestling. My babysitter's grandson was the one that got me into it originally, and
Mm.
I played SmackDown 2005 or something. It was such a great game,
Yeah, I
and
miss those games. Oh my
dude,
God.
good times with
Yeah.
no stamina bar, just beating the shit out of every
I
character.
was I was gonna say there's so many times where older games were made so much better than like what they've been doing now. Like especially like the NBA ones, especially since they keep making them every year the same. And it's like, oh well, what's different? It's like, well, now LeBron went from wearing a Cavs jersey to a Lakers jersey, and that's about it. It's like, oh, cool.
No, no, no. You have to remember the most important thing that they added to basketball: gambling. As we all
Damn
remember,
straight.
that's exactly what we think of when we think of throwing a ball into a hoop. How many sevens?
Microtransactions.
Yes, microtransactions, exactly. You watch Angry Joe at all? He always roasts these guys.
Yes. Oh my God.
Damn, I wore the wrong
Yeah.
shirt. I should have wore Angry Joe, but South Park is still sick. All right. So going back to your history before all of this awesome entertainment stuff, how long have you been involved in like music listening, music
Mm.
creation? Did you write raps when you were as like a kid or a teenager?
So basically, at least for what I can remember, like actually sticking to a genre, my dad was actually the one that brought me into like rock and heavy metal, like Disturbed, Breaking Benjamin, stuff like that. And it's still something that I listen to today. But my best friend Edwin, who I watch wrestling with, he actually got me into hip hop and rap. Um, so he showed me like Kendrick, J. Cole, Tupac, Biggie. Like he basically was like, here's like the legends in my eyes for now and the legends back then. And just to kind
Great
of
choices.
put, yeah, yeah, amazing choices. And like just to kind of like put in an aspect, like the songs that were being played when I got into that, it was like Wiz Khalifa and like Tyga were like the names back then. Like it was crazy. And I think around 12 is when I was just like, damn, I really want to do music. Cause my mom also, she sings a lot and stuff like that. So she got me onto the R&B side.
Oh,
And one of the biggest things for me was, I liked the energy that like heavy metal rock brought into it. And I'm such a sucker for a guitar solo. Like Guitar Hero I grew up on too. I know that's getting back on video games, but I love Guitar Hero and stuff like that.
yeah.
And I try and listen to like I sound like a boomer when I say this about like music, but I try and listen to like new rock and like new pop punk and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um but I always sound like a boomer wherever I'm like, where's the guitar solo? I don't hear it anymore. um but for like hip hop and stuff like that, I've been wanting to do it since like at least music in general, I'd say like 12. And I would always go down to the park with a couple friends. We'd freestyle a lot on the benches and stuff like that. But my biggest thing was I was doing YouTube at the time because it was a lot easier back then. Because like for music, everyone's like, oh, you got to put so much money into it and stuff like that. And I was, 12, 13. So I was like, okay, I don't have that.
Yeah.
But I definitely wrote a lot. I don't know if you've heard the song Alive yet. But I wrote that around 2018. So that song's just been like written for like a really long time and stuff like that.
Oh, 988.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Um,
Yeah, you dropped that last year, according to
yep.
Spotify at least.
Yeah. So like that one I had for like a long time and stuff like that. But eventually I was kind of just like, it was basically like last year, my friend actually hit me up, who I made G18 with, Danny Leans, and he basically was just like, hey man, he's like, I found this beat. Do you want to hop on it? And he would always ask me that. He's like, yeah, you want to hop on this beat? And I was like, yeah, I'll make a song eventually with you and stuff like that. He sent me the beat and he's just like, yo, get it back to me in 24 hours. So I was like, oh shit, okay. So I got up, I took a walk, and like I want to say like taking a walk and like listening to beats and stuff like that is one of the like best ways that like if I'm having like a writer's block or anything like that, just to help me out.
Yeah.
So I did that. I'd listen to it, write something down, keep walking, be like, oh, that'd be good, write it down. And then I sent it to him. And at first, like I didn't like my voice, I didn't like how I sounded, all that kind of stuff. I feel like everybody gets that way when it comes to like YouTube music, whatever they're doing.
Of
They're really
course.
passionate about it, but then they're just like, yeah, but what if I suck or whatever? And I sent it to like basically everybody, and they're just like, bro, I didn't know you could do this and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, because I made songs and stuff like that I never want to release. Like they're terrible. Like 2017, I was just getting into it, but I think I had a lot of time from 2017 to now to kind of practice everything. And ever since then, I've just been like, well, let me try out this new genre. Let me try out, or, new subgenre, just whatever it may be, just to kind of have fun with it. Because at the end of the day, that's really all I care about is having fun with it. Um, but yeah, and then ever since, after G18 and stuff like that, I was like, all right, let me make some music and let me have some fun with it and, go from there. Um, but yeah, I would say like one of the biggest struggles was definitely money wise starting because
Yeah.
I was just kind of getting into it, and they're like, okay, so doing music and stuff like that, they're like, do you know how to do your own stuff? And I'm like, I know how to talk into a mic, and that's about it. So spending like $150 to mix, every single time, and it was a lot of money. So then I was kind of just like, okay, if I can take that money that I'm sending out to put into other stuff, like I want to learn how to do that too. Because especially where, you know, say for example, like Crazy wasn't a good song. I spent $150 and I listened back to it and I'm just like, oh, it really wasn't that good. I'm out of 150. Now it's kind of nice. And like I'd say that's probably like the biggest game changer is actually being able to do my own stuff. So then I can make a song, and if I go, I don't really feel it, and just move on to the next one. And it's
True.
great.
True that. And also, like you were saying, the expenses of anybody making music these days, it is a challenge if you don't know how to do your own mixing, your own production. If you don't have a trustworthy friend that can do that for you, then yeah, it's going to be more
Mhm.
out of your pocket. And you said you were starting at 12 years old. When was it that you first like really released a song?
Um, Honestly, in technical terms, G18 is the first one that I released, but the first one I made was called Call My Phone. And to kind of like tell you who my top two influencers are is basically J. Cole and Lil Uzi Vert. So it's like a complete 180,
Yeah.
but it's like J. Cole for the lyricism and like Uzi for like the sonic vibe. So it's like even like if you talk about like Crazy, where it's like the hook and like even the beginning and
Mhm.
stuff like that, it's like Uzi, where it's just like melodic, all that kind of stuff. But then like towards the end, especially when I get into my rapping vibe and stuff like that, I'm like, all right, I wanted to like say something. I wanted to, have that lyricism behind it. And I love the idea of like mixing both of them and just making a song with it. Um, so with that, my first song was called Call My Phone in like 2017.
Yeah.
And I was recording on what's it called? It's I can't think of the music program, but it's like a free music program that basically just records audio. I want to say SoundCloud, but that's not right. It sounds something.
Oh,
And
sounds
um
something. Sound stage? Nah, that can't be.
I'm trying to think of what it is. It's like it anyways, so like it's a real like free, it was cheap. I was using a Yeti, like a blue Yeti microphone because I was still doing YouTube at the time.
Yeah.
And I was basically just like I didn't understand like how to do anything yet. So I was just kind of like I was basically just like talking in the mic. And I sent it over to the one guy who made the one beat. And
Mhm.
he's like, "Oh yeah, I've never done like vocal editing, but I'll try it. I'll mix and master it." I was like, "Cool, cool, cool." So like a week went by, he gave it back to me, and I listened to it. I was like, "Nah." I was like, "I'm never releasing this." And after that, that kind of made me go, "Well, maybe I shouldn't do music. Maybe I should just do YouTube. I'll keep up with that." But eventually, I kind of came to the realization where I was like, "You know what? When I'm when it's my time and stuff
Mhm.
like that, I want to look back on life and have no regrets." And I know if I don't do music, that's going to be a regret, like one of the biggest ones for me. So then that's when I was just like, all right, I don't care how many, I don't care how many call my phones I make. I don't care how many bad songs I make.
Yeah.
There's going to be one good one, and I can at least be happy that I made it. And that's how I've been living ever since.
That's sick, man. And yeah, I was gonna be critical towards your first couple of singles, just because
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right, mixing not as great, and like you said, the melodic structure that you were looking for, Lil Uzi Vert, that Drake style, of course, that I grew up
Mm-hmm.
with, and remember hearing the first time and been like, this is an Eminem, turn it off, turn it off. And so yeah, that's like how I always viewed melodic rap until like I listened to Proof over and over and over, and I was like, what is it about this that people like I listened to Juice World and I hooked into it instantly, and I was like, well, there's got to be something because this kid is just so passionate about his music. And so I
Yeah.
finally listened to the I don't know what song 3 times, and I was like, okay, I got it now. All right, it's not about the delivery, it's about the story, it's about the vibe. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, for sure.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool, cool. So yeah, because I'm coming from lyricism land, like I said, Eminem, Tupac, like you were saying, J. Cole. I love Tech
Mm-hmm.
Nine. I mean, these guys are absolute wordsmiths, and usually you're not knowing like any song where they're singing. That's not like a thing. It's like, oh, do you like
Oh
when
yeah.
Tech Nine sings? It's like he sings. Nah, I don't care about that. It's fast flows. That's what I go for. It's choppers. But
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah. I
really
definitely.
do appreciate anybody that's going for that like modern style and trying to mix the old school with it. So that Lil Uzi Vert and J. Cole combination, that is tight.
Yeah, because like you said, where it's like, did you hear like anybody sing that was like an actual lyricist? Like especially back in the '90s and 2000s, they brought in R&B singers to do
Mhm.
the hooks most of the time. If it was like a more melodic hook and stuff like that. And I was actually the same way. Like I said, my best friend, he brought me in. because like right now he's a producer and he does like 90s hip hop and stuff like that. So
Nice.
that's him. Like that's his vibe, that's his era and stuff like that. So for him, he'll do he loves Tupac, J. Cole, Kendrick and stuff like that. And that's what he brought me up on. So when I would hear melodic artists and stuff like that, I'm like, what are they saying? Like they're not even saying anything or whatever. But it was I was going through Snapchat and my one friend was at a party and they had Lil Uzi Vert on, and the song was called Pretty Mommy. And I heard it in the background, and it was like nothing I ever heard. Again, it had nothing to do with what he was saying or anything. It was just the sonic sound of it made my ears go, whoa. Like what was that sound? And then I even asked him, like, yo, what was playing on in the background? Like, I didn't even care that they were at the party. I was like, what song was that in the background? And they're like, oh, I don't know. So I spent like 2 hours trying to figure out what that song was because I was like, sonically, this sounds insane. And then that's when I kind of like opened my mind and like my range of being like, okay, you know, it's kind of like the same with like R&B love songs. Like, all R&B love songs are, oh, I fell in love in like, how many different ways, but it's the vibe that you feel like, damn, they're in love and you feel that love and you feel that passion and stuff like that. And I feel like that was the same way when it came to like melodic rap and stuff like that, because it was like, okay, you feel the passion, you feel the energy, and you feel the vibe that's happening with it.
Yeah.
And then it changed my mind, and I was like, okay, so there's different genres of rap, and that's when I started really digging deep into it. And I was like, okay, I like this, and that's why, especially when I started making music and stuff like that, I was like, okay, that's what I want to start doing, is being like explore it a little bit more.
I literally love that you have such a great influence in your parents' history with rock, metal, R&B. That's a great foundation to make great music. I grew up on Motown, classic rock, disco, and Christian music out of all things. And then a little bit later, I got into some Billy Joel, stuck with classic rock, and finally found some late 90s, early 2000s pop that caught my ear. And one of them caught my eye, Britney Spears.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't blind, but I was still young at the time, so I didn't know what the feelings were. But I want to talk about your first track on your album here called Lost Heart, which is the
Yeah.
name of the album. The vocalist on this track definitely gives me the R&B feel that you were talking about with your music, and just the way that you mix everything together on this album is so smooth, man. I listened to the album at least 3 times. I wanted to make sure that I could pick my favorite track, and I was like, don't be the easygoing guy that's like number one because I like
The first
certain
one.
that. Yeah, exactly. I like the
Yeah.
intro. I like the intro. But it's true. I love the intro. It just changes your vibe altogether. Coming from the rest of your discography, you go into this and you're like, oh, story time. Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm ready to cross my legs and listen to the teacher talk. That's exactly how it felt. And I hope that you feel that same way about your music, man, because you're definitely improving more and more as I've now been able to experience crazy,
No, I appreciate
unbelievable,
that.
unbelievable,
Yeah.
man. The bars on that.
Yeah, like one of the biggest things is like everything as I got into, because like I said, I did YouTube for a little bit, and getting into that and whatnot, I learned that there's the YouTube side to it, and then there's always behind the curtains, and that's like the business side and whatnot. And I realized like one of the biggest things, and I tell, like everybody that I talk to and stuff like that do music or do anything, I was like, you kind of want to look at yourself as like a kind of like, I say fast food, but you can kind of do it for anything like a Target or whatever it may be, where it's like you want to have selection. I was
Yes.
like, because I was like, you know, when I first started making music and stuff like that, it was all, like higher energy and stuff like that. And there's a reason that I made Lost Heart and stuff like that. I got out of a really bad breakup and whatnot. So, the feelings were there to be like, all right, This is
Bro,
how I feel.
I
Let me put
feel,
it into songs.
dude, I swear relationships are like the greatest way to start your music career these
Yeah.
days. A bad relationship. I was writing so much shit as I was telling young Edison, I was like, bro, but I had to write everything down to just vent out
Yeah.
all of the anger. And it works so well. So that bad relationship led to your best work, no question. Like your
Yeah.
album is your best work so far.
Yeah, like a lot of people, like I tell people all the time, I was like, especially when it comes to music and stuff like that, I was like, just say how you feel. Like, and that's why for the album and stuff like that, I was like, okay, this is how I feel. I'm gonna portray that and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And definitely like one of my I'm so how do I want to say it? I'm so about having the first song on an album be something that grabs people in and kind of sets you in like the environment and stuff like that. Because a lot of people, I hear music all the time where it's like the first song is kind of just like it's like okay, but it didn't really like pull me in,
Mhm.
and then you get to a couple songs and then it's like okay, I'm done. But like again, I'll bring them up again, like J. Cole and like Uzi and stuff like that. Like Off Season, the first song really got me into it. When Uzi dropped EA, that pulled me in because it's such like a like a spacey vibe, and that was the whole vibe for it. It pulled me in. So I was like, okay, with this one, I'm going to make it where it's like eerie. We're gonna get into like this, like kind of like Lost Heart and stuff like that. And fun fact, the vocalist, I can't think of her name, but it was actually do you know what Splice is? Like the app Splice?
I know what that means, but I've never used the app.
Okay. So this it's mainly like for like producers and stuff like that. So my best friend got me onto it. It's basically where you can find samples and like different instruments that are royalty free and you can just use them. And I was scrolling through vocals and stuff like that because I was like, okay, I want a female vocalist. And I was talking to two at the time, and both of them, we were like talking, and I sent the one of them the beat, and they're just like, nah, I can't vibe with that. I was like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
And the second one just kind of, it just basically didn't happen. So I was like, okay, cool. So I went on Splice and I was like, well, what if I look up female vocalist? And I was listening and listening and listening, and then I finally found that one. And she makes EDM music.
What?
And yeah, and it was funny because I looked up her name then because I was like, okay, let me
Does she
figure out who this
sing it
is.
all in her free time?
I, apparently, like the reason she did the Splice thing, it was kind of like a Splice and her collab kind of thing.
Okay.
I'll definitely figure out who it is and I'll send it to you after the interview
Yeah.
because it's bothering the hell out of me that I can't remember her name. But it was funny because I looked up her Spotify. There's no singing at all. Like she does vocals, but you know how EDM is like it'll like basically chop it and basically like it'll be like da, 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 boom, 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 and then the bass drop and stuff like that. So it's not like one full piece like how it was on Lost Heart.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to her and I'm like, damn, she's really good. And then to figure out it's like, oh, you do EDM, and it's not even like she does like R&B or anything like that. It was wild to me. But I thought her voice like fit it so well.
Oh yeah, man.
And
You
and
know,
yeah, so
it,
then yeah.
like you said, it's dark, it's emotional, it's a hook to grab your audience instantly. And
hmm
it my first like feel from it, because I'm such a big super insane NF fan. I'm like, yo, I feel like I'm on an NF album now. This is so cool. You got this really emotional voice here, and just this is gonna get me to listen to the rest of this. And like I said, I listened to it multiple times, and I was like, yeah, that first track, that is such a fantastic song because it just gets you ready. It gets you prepared for what you're about to encounter, whether it's going to take you
Yeah.
through twists and turns or stay with that nice dark emotional vibe. You're going to get something that's just so different from your other stuff, and I really love that.
Yeah. Like and that was the thing before it because it's like I think the only other song that I made that was like emotional was Alive.
Mhm.
And I had a couple people that were just like, oh yeah, it made me cry and stuff like that because it does talk about suicide and stuff like that, and basically different stages to it, and like, you know, how people feel, and like that, even my experiences and stuff like that. And I was just like, you know, when again, when you kind of get into that emotional side and stuff like that, you know, that's when you do your best work. Like right now, like I'm you know, I would say like right now I'm definitely making some more happier stuff. Like I have a song coming out this month,
Oh, nice.
and it's definitely like, it's definitely like high energy,
Oh,
and
cool.
that's what's going to be going into it and stuff like that. And you know, it's because it's like now it's like, you know, I'm more happier and stuff like that, and you kind of gravitate towards beats and vibes that are more happier and stuff like that. And um
Is
yeah,
it
so I'd say
is it
like
like drill or
no,
trap?
it's definitely more pop. I
Oh,
definitely say like I'm
pop.
getting more into pop. Yeah.
Oh, different
Like,
direction. Hey, you know, you're giving a
yeah,
variety. You're not just
right.
fast food. You're the whole buffet right now.
Like definitely like, because like Digital Love, I never heard of like or what's it? Yeah, Digipop. I never heard of it before, and I was like, okay, let me try it.
I only
And
know
then
Digimon.
no throwback,
Throwbacks, bro, all the time. Nostalgia. All right.
the good stuff.
But Digipop,
Uh,
what is that?
so it's basically it's kind of like hyper pop, but more based in like video games. So it's basically video game hip hop. Is
Oh,
basically what it is.
that's cool.
And actually, who? So I heard the beat the first time. It was great. It was the first beat that I heard of, and I was just like, "Oh wow! Like I can do a lot with it and stuff like that." And I talked to the producer, and his name is Tashini, and he's actually the guy. Like I talk to him daily, and he sends me beats all the time and stuff like that. And we have a really good connection. And you know, I was just like, okay, you know, yeah, I want to work with your beats and stuff like that. And that's when it came out with Digital Love. And what was cool about it was I was performing at Launch, which is basically like where I'm at. It's basically like they do it every year. It's kind of like a really underground Coachella for like the
Okay.
area that I'm at. And I got to preview it and stuff like that. And I got to put it on YouTube, and a lot of people were excited for it and stuff like that. And it's great. I think that song basically encapsulates like what I talk about, where it's like you sonically it sounds amazing because you have like the video game vibes, but then it's hip hop. But then you really look at the lyrics and it's just like, oh, okay, like, you know, there's something behind it and
Yes.
whatnot. And that's basically where I was just like, okay, this is what I want to do the rest of the time. Um, and that's when you know, I've definitely been getting like more experimental this year, no doubt. Because then I did Energy, which is full on like house and EDM.
Yes.
And my other best friend Jake, he actually took me out to New York, and we went to a club, and it was just EDM, and he was showing me like different EDM artists and whatnot, which I've listened to them before, but I was like, yeah, these songs are really good and whatnot. And we went to a club around like 10 p.m. We stayed out there till like 4 a.m. and whatnot. And I was like, yo, the music that I was hearing was awesome. And I was like, you know what? I kind of want to make a song like this. And I just did it. And I think that's like one of the biggest things that I think like artists should do is just like, you know, just have fun with it, you know, and
Oh,
just like
absolutely.
try different things. Cause there's definitely like, there's some stuff that I tried. Like I tried indie pop and stuff like that. And I was kind of just like, okay. Um, but I've even tried like rock. I don't know what the genre is called, but it's basically like hip hop with electric guitar backgrounds and stuff like that. And I've
New
made
metal.
songs for that too.
New
New
metal or
metal,
rapcore. Both of those are
yeah, 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 rapcore.
yeah.
And
Uh,
I've definitely made some songs like that, and like they're in the vault right now. But I kind of want to also, since I'm doing more shows and stuff like that, I was like, all right, I need something to get the people going to like mosh and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, let me make some songs and stuff like that. So like for the people that have heard it, like 4 a.m. or Ultimate and stuff like that, like I think once people do hear that and whatnot, it's gonna be like, oh shit, like I try and like evolve myself or be like, oh okay, he can do that too. That's pretty crazy, you
yeah.
know, like every single time.
Well, let me say this. I'm going to bring it all together because this is just how my brain works all the time. We've talked about nostalgia. We talked about video games. We talked
Mhm.
about music. We talked about hip hop. Bro, you're telling me that your first thought is to do this really happy song in the middle of October instead of Pumpkin Hill from Sonic Adventure 2 Battle? Bro, just think about the shit you could come up with on that beat. That's gonna be straight fire. It's perfect for the season. Come on,
All
bro.
right. I don't know. Well, actually, Edison wouldn't really care, I don't think.
Yep.
So okay, have you ever played Five Nights at Freddy's or like watched it?
I have not played it. I've watched PewDiePie react to it
Okay,
or play it. I
so
don't know if he did
it's a
both.
very it's a very distinct sound, and I'll play it if we need to. Have you ever heard in the first game where if they get closer, it's like a wing wing kind of sound like where they're coming up on you?
I wouldn't remember. All I know is that there's some crazy lore that I never looked into when it comes to that universe. And now that
You're
there's a
not.
movie coming out, people are like getting upset because they're not getting their super special lore out of the movie. I'm like,
Yeah,
it's a movie, of course.
I'd say I was one of those cringy kids that like was super heavy into the lore. I would watch MatPat, I'd be like, all right, why is this happening? What's this doing and stuff like that. Um,
I
but
love it though. Your
let me
enthusiasm.
see. Let me see if I can.
I'll tell you, the sound is going to sound absolutely god awful. So send me the clip and I will play it
Okay,
in
well,
the interview.
all right. Let me. But yeah. So basically,
Oh
while
shit, you
I'm
just
doing it,
turned red and black. That was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
just
You had
changing different colors.
completely chameleoned on me. That was so awesome. But yeah, no, dude, Pumpkin Hill. Reason I brought that up, and I had to look it up to make sure that that was the name of it. I've loved that map when it comes to like any video game ever. Like my friend and I, he came over the other night, and I was like, "Bro, you want to play some like throwback Sonic?" And he's like, "Yeah, of course." I'm like, "Cool." So I was like, "All we're gonna do, we're just gonna fly around and look for diamonds. That's all we're doing the entire game." He's like, "Love it." And so we were just attacking each other, and I'm listening to this awesome hip hop from Pumpkin Hill, and I'm just thinking, I'm like, oh my god, if somebody were to take the nostalgia of this song and mix it with some modern stuff, that would work so well. And I'm like, you know who needs to do that? Crimson Red, right here on the interview. That's what needs to happen. It's the truth. Speaking of, I have to tell the audience this because I was going to say it earlier, way earlier. Your name, Crimson Red, I was so excited to get a message from you. Reason four, one of my favorite bands changed their name to Crimson Adored. So I saw your name pop
Yo.
up and I was like, no way, my favorite band's contacting me.
And then you look at it, it's like,
And I was
oh.
like, oh, never mind, he's a rapper. Okay. No, but anybody that's
Like,
friends
I
with
guess.
the guests that I have on here, you're my friends, everybody's friends. We're all family when it comes to the world of music, entertainment, and just keeping it real. That's what we do here on the Media Man Dan podcast with Crimson
Amen.
Red. By the way, what is your first name, just so I can get that?
So it's Alec, but it's spelled Alic.
That explains why you're on the production credits for your album. All
Yep.
right. I was gonna say, I was like, dude, your producer Alec is just so good with what he knows. Like, this is crazy stuff. And you'd be like, yeah, bro, I never met the guy.
It's
You wouldn't
me.
believe it. He sends me these stuff. Like he just reads my mind like he's me or something. It's like that shit's fire, bro. All right, you did it. You're perfect. Now you look like Finn McKenty again.
Hold on, let me.
By the way, when you say and stuff like that, I keep thinking, I'm like, do I want to have a counter at the bottom for every time that you've said
Oh
that,
my
or do I
god.
want to cut it out? Oh,
Yo, I
you see Finn?
yeah, I had to look it up real quick because I was like, hold on, let me see. I was like, oh shit.
Yep. You are the punk rock MBA. Congratulations, you have upgraded to a 40-something-year-old man.
We getting older, boys.
But dude, this has been so much fun, and I want to continue the fun. Let's talk about some of the best things that you had from your childhood. You talked about superheroes before. What is like your favorite superhero?
It used to be, it's a tie between Hulk and Spider-Man.
Ooh,
Now,
Hulk. Actually,
yeah,
I've never heard that before. So why Hulk?
I don't know. Like, I think it was basically, I think it kind of ties back to like the whole wrestling thing,
Okay.
where it's kind of like, I was so into wrestling and like all the different wrestlers and stuff like that that once I started getting into heroes, I was like, hey, he looks like the wrestlers and stuff like that. And like as a kid, that's just like what grew on me. And then as I got older, I was like, oh well, Spider-Man's cool, but it's kind of like one of those like it's like, well, everyone likes Spider-Man. So I was like, okay. So deep down inside it's the Hulk, like just so then I don't sound based at that point.
Hey, I would say the Hulk back in 2003 when the first movie came out. I don't know if you can consider it the first movie, but the first movie that was like the big in theaters movie. And
Hmm.
dude, those Hulk fists that came out in
Oh, I
stores.
had those. Yep.
Oh my
Hmm.
gosh, the coolest thing since sock and boppers. Like, come on, who wouldn't want that? That's the coolest shit. And so, yeah, I completely understand the love for the character. I've never read a comic in my life. I am a very bad person when it comes to those. Um, I don't know
It's okay. Deep
why.
down inside, you and me both. You and me
Okay,
both.
okay. Because yeah, I don't know how to read it. Like people are like, oh no, it's easy. You just follow the panels. I'm like, but what panel? Because
Right.
like
Yeah, no, because sometimes it's left, right, and then you're over here just like, okay, so you're left, now you're at the bottom of the page, now we're in the middle, now we're at the top again. It's like,
it's like, oh yeah, the windows are the same size on this page. Then the next page, it's just big image, little windows on each
tiny. Yeah.
side. It's like, oh, okay, you have to remember that this dialogue goes with the bottom dialogue that's being yelled at by the guy in the back that you haven't met yet. That's going to be introduced on the next page. Who does
Yeah.
this to people? Why can't you just make it so that you have all the words at the bottom, let the pictures flow the way they are? What is wrong
Yeah.
with that?
I would say for like newer people, it's really like it's a turnoff.
Yeah.
Basically, like for newer people, it's just kind of like, well, I'll just go watch the movies. I'll be back.
Yeah.
Like if I need
Or
to
I'll get
learn
the
all this.
digital comics and have somebody else read them to me.
And the audiobooks, yeah.
And all the panning can be done by them, and they'll be like, this is how you read it.
It's like, oh.
Fascinating. But yeah, okay, at least you're on my side with that because a lot of people are like, Dan, how could you not have read a comic book in your life? And I always tell them the sad story that the first Daredevil movie that also came out the same year is that Hulk movie that I was talking about.
Mm,
That came with a comic for the action figure that you get, little collectibles, and it was one of the most dark comics about Spider-Man, and I love Spider-Man, and I never want to see my heroes in dark and evil situations,
right.
completely hopeless and ugly, because like his hair was like popping out of his mask. You could see skin all over his face. It's like,
Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah, and he looked fat, and I don't know why, but you know what? I'm gonna do it for myself right now. I'm canceled, guys. I was fat phobic when I was a child. You wouldn't believe this. I ate McDonald's, Burger King, all this shit all the time, but for some reason, because my metabolism was better, I felt better than other people. That's right.
High metabolism for the
For the
win,
win.
you
For the win. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it goes away. It does. Be careful when you're getting up to my age. Ugh, my age. Don't. I don't even want to think about
Thanks for the warning.
it. Yeah, especially alcohol years. Oh my God. If you made it through those successfully, you should be good. Because that's usually
Yeah.
like you start drinking, I don't know, wine coolers, beer. And as soon as that happens, the metabolism's like, "Phew."
It's crazy because like as I remember the first like when I turned 21 and stuff like that, like I did a thing where I was like, oh, I can drink now, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
But I've never been one of those people that are like drug or alcohol oriented.
perfect. I'm
But
straight edge
yeah.
as well. I only had a wine cooler because it tasted good and it reminded me of
Oh yeah.
soda, and everybody else was like, this is for adults. And I was like, I'm an adult, I'll drink that. But
Yeah, I think
nowadays, lemonade.
I think the only thing that really gets to me is it's called Jungle Juice,
Jungle juice, never
and
had it.
and and it's basically I gotta think of all the ingredients. It's basically like Hawaiian punch, pineapple juice, and vodka.
Oh my God,
But
the lethal combination.
yeah, like it basically disguises itself. So I used to drink whenever like it would be parties and stuff like that. I'd have like 3 cups, and then I'd be at the table like like this type, absolutely done with, and I'm just like, well,
Plastered.
I only had one, right? And they're like, no, you're on your fifth one, Alec. Like, I'm like, oh shit,
Because yeah, it
sorry.
tastes like juice. Your
Yeah.
taste buds are going to pick up only that. Mine are so strong because I have such a upbringing in my Catholic church that everything tastes like
Mm,
church wine. And I don't know
yeah.
why that is, but like anytime I taste any alcohol that's not like the wine coolers, the regular like fizzy kind of thing, that I'm always like,
Mm.
church wine, blood of Christ. No offense, Jesus. It's just that you don't taste that
No
great
offense, Jesus.
anymore. No offense, bro. But yeah,
Yeah, like one little party trick is like vodka. I can just like take it. It
really.
doesn't it burns, but it's one of those things where I'm just like I can just do it. I
Smirnoff
remember,
Ice I can do, but
yeah.
I know that's not like real vodka. Like everybody would be like Grey Goose or whatever the other person. What is the main vodka that everyone loves? I have to think. Is White Claw vodka? No,
Um
no, it's not. White Claw's White Claw.
Main vodka. So Tito's apparently is number one, but Smirnoff is number two.
Okay, Smirnoff is on there, but that's an American brand, I think. Yeah, Tito's. Tito's
Grey
vodka.
Goose.
Yeah, Grey Goose. That's the fancy one that you bring to family dinners.
The one that I used to have a lot, or when they made Jungle Juice, I'm probably gonna butcher the hell out of this. Ciroc.
Oh, okay. Sounds like
That's
Turok.
the Yeah, that's the one that I used to have a lot. CIROC. That was the one that I used to have a lot.
Oh, okay, okay. I've seen commercials for that. Yeah, anything when you reach a certain age, you realize that the advertisements were literally made for you. Like you
Yes.
understand it's not just a coincidence. They are targeting everything that you consume on a daily basis, whether it's your permission or not. They're on your internet all the time, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, well, you recently searched for Burger Kings in your area.
Oh
Here's
my God, yeah.
fifty
Especially
thousand."
recently.
Yeah, you get to have that stupid song. You love it, don't you? BK, have it your
Have
way. You
it your
rule.
way.
Here's the worst part about that, and I'm going to talk about copyrights when it comes to music once again because I've already done it once on the podcast. But da 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 da, they're great. Oh wait, that's what is that, guys? That's right, Frosted Flakes. What are
Frosted
you
Flakes.
doing, Burger King?
Tony the Tiger.
Stealing Tony the Tiger's amazing brand. I can't, man.
I'll keep it a buck. I would not mess with Tony the Tiger.
Dude, Tony the Tiger, OG badass. That is one of the most badass characters ever. Next to I like Sugar Bear for the off-brand Sugar Smacks.
Mm.
Yeah, actually, I think he was on brand, but I got it from Aldi, so you never know.
It's a 50-50.
It's a 50-50. It could be on brand. I saw Aldi the other day. I went there and I was like, yo, they have actual fruity pebbles here. Oh my gosh. And I'm looking
They're
at all the other
upgrading.
cereals for like $1.29, $1.49. This fruity pebbles box, 409. I'm like, of course, because
Yeah.
freaking name brands, man. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I used to do a lot of like I've kind of understood nowadays as becoming an adult where it's like you know what, the off brand doesn't really taste that different. It's like this isn't that bad.
And
And I'm just
it's a super secret on the inside of everything because I worked in retail. If you have a Meyer, do you have a Meyer in your state? I don't think so.
nah, I never heard
I
of
think
that.
it's mostly Midwest kind of thing. Meyer was two brothers that created this company. It's completely independent. Um, they will literally have the exact same product. They'll put it into their container and it'll say Meyer on it, and that'll be cheaper. But people will be like, well, I like the name brand. I'm not going to get this thing because I like the
Mm-hmm.
name brand. And it's like, it's the same thing. You're getting the same thing and you're paying less for it. They do that on
Yeah.
purpose so that you buy their shit. and
Yeah,
then
I was
they
gonna say
track that and make more of it. Yeah.
oh yeah, like Target when I used to work at Target, they up price the name brand stuff because they actually have to, that's where most of the cost goes into because it's
Yeah.
like yeah, they have to get that product. But then they'll make like their brand of stuff. And for them, it doesn't matter which one you pick out, but if you pick their brand of stuff, they get the full profits on that.
Oh yeah.
And the reason that they can do that is because it's like, oh well, it's cheaper. But if you want to be bougie, if you want the good stuff, you got to pay the price for it. And at the end of
Yeah.
the day, they're just like,
Also,
whichever one you
Target,
go with, we make
Target,
money.
Walmart, any superstore, they're all anti-union. So they're all about that independent lifestyle of getting the
Hmm.
bag when it comes to anything. Yeah, their specific products. Target, oh my gosh. They took a beating this year. I mean, they definitely went the wrong direction when it came to the political stance that they were holding. But
Hmm.
I knew that I was coming regardless, and all I was thinking was, that's okay. I bought everything I needed from Target, so I'm okay. I don't need to go back there for a while. I don't want to see any of that shit. But I won't
Yeah,
go into
I was gonna
politics.
say.
But how are your like expenses in the state that you're in right now?
Um, I'd say they're okay.
Pretty reasonable.
Um, yeah, because everything here, I would say like I'm trying to really think. I think gas is probably like the craziest thing, which I feel like it is everywhere.
Yeah, give me your gas
Um,
price. I'm excited to hear this. And crazy.
I think the last time I checked, it was three 3.98.
High five. We're the same.
Oh, bet.
Yeah, bro. Illinois, massively overpriced most of the
Mm.
time. Taxes are up our ass all the time, but we're at least a little bit better off than California and New York. So that's
Oh yeah,
that's one thing.
yeah.
But yeah,
Danny
it's a
Leans,
struggle.
he's from New York and stuff like that, and basically what he was telling me was, there's like a couple jobs, like retail jobs, where it's like they make like 17 $18 an hour, which like, to us and stuff like that, it's like, oh, okay, that sounds a lot better than what the base is. But then you got to take into account where it's like, well, their stuff is more expensive and they pay higher taxes and all that kind of stuff. Because I went to New York sometime last year, and I remember getting like a bottle of soda, and it was like almost $4, and I'm like, what the hell? I was like, I know it keeps going up, but and then I was like, oh, I'm in New York. That's why.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude, they had a sugar tax on us a couple of years ago in a certain county, the county that was also involved in Chicago. They would have
Hmm.
like a 10% or a 20% tax on any drink that involved
Damn.
sugar. Yeah, they tried to do it for water too. People were striking against that. I wonder why.
I wonder. Hmm.
Wonder what it could have been. The cost of everything going
Dang.
up plus that. Oh yeah, that's always great. And that was for places that were selling it as well. So like if you were at like a pizza joint and you just wanted to get a bottle of soda, there's that extra
Yeah.
tax on top because of the county that you were in.
Yeah. So it was like any place as long as it was in that area.
Yeah, there's still a couple gas
That's
stations around the
insane.
area that have a sign that says we don't have a sugar tax here, not Cook County.
Yeah, it's like please come in.
Please
That's like
come in.
that's
Yeah.
that's the best advertisement. It's like, hey, we won't tax you. Come here, or we won't
Dude,
extra
that
tax you.
that is my favorite thing. Anywhere that I can go flat, I'm so happy. I'm like, you actually have zeros at the end of your number? Holy
Hmm. It's
shit,
like it's
what
like
kind of
it's like
world?
come here, come here.
Yes, yes, exactly. I know where I'm going for the rest of my life. But it is marketing. That's how they do it. But
Yeah,
that's good. The living expenses aren't too terrible down there. Yeah, I could say that like right now, just taxes alone, I'm hoping that whatever the state didn't give me last year, they're like, oh, whoopsie, let's give him that this year so that he can,
oopsie.
kind of survive. Whoopsie. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say if because like another thing that does help too, and I think this is something that's like important. This is just like like a human living kind of thing is like having different revenues of income, but then also investing is probably something like another reason why I feel comfortable now. If it
Mhm.
was like a couple years ago, I'd be like, "Holy shit, bro! I have pennies to my name," and stuff like that. But now it's kind of like, I sat down and I took a lot of time when it came to business and stuff like that, and I was just like, okay, let me figure out how, because especially with like the housing market. And especially when I went to go get my first car, because I only started driving about 2 years ago.
Oh,
And I remember going out with it was my dad and his brother, and we were just like looking at cars and stuff like that. And we were looking at like it was like a 2005. And back when I first thought about getting my driver's license, like I was 16 to 18 and stuff like that. So 2005, got a couple miles on it. We'll do 3 grand, and that was really reasonable. And I was like, okay. We were going to like all these different dealerships, and 2005s were like $8,000 to $10,000. I'm like, Jesus, bro, like why? And we settled on a 2001 Saturn, and it had like
oh
a
my
hundred
gosh.
thousand miles, and it was like I think it was like $1,500, and I
You're
was
damn
kind of
right
just
it's
like,
$1,500. It's going off a cliff.
that car lasted me like a year maybe, and then
Ooh.
I upgraded to a Acura, a 2002 Acura RSX now,
Oh,
and she's been perfect. I love this car.
2002, still in great shape. Wow.
Yeah.
Lucky, lucky. How did you love learning about the sexist the thing that goes on when you're a man trying to get a car?
I
Ain't that bullshit? Oh my God.
Oh my God. Okay, I don't want to. I don't know if they're gonna see this interview or not.
No,
But
you're
there's
good.
somebody that I used to joke around about this with, and I always used to be like, where I'd be like, yeah, like car insurance, being a man and stuff like that. They would get pissed about it all the time. And that's why, like, too, especially like when it came to picking out cars, my dad's like, none of them are in red, none of them, like he was
Yep.
naming a list to be like, this is gonna make it go down and stuff like that.
No
But I would
spoilers.
say,
No
yeah,
spoilers.
they're like anything that reads going fast, don't do it.
That's why I love the new
Um,
cars that they look like sedans and they drive like fucking supercars.
yeah,
So cool.
yeah, like I would say, because like surprisingly, I mean, maybe not. I'm actually not really that much of like a car guy where it goes into
Same.
like
Yeah.
heavy details, because like people will come up to me in like different situations, and I think it's because of the car that I drive, where they go, "Oh, well, what do you think about this car? What do you think about this like engine and all this kind of stuff?" I'm like, I don't know. Then I'll be like, go talk to somebody else that knows about cars
Well,
and whatnot.
this is how you know if you like really know a car. Do you drive stick?
See, I don't even know the differences. I know that
Do
it's
you push your stupid stick forward, backwards, and sideways in order to
yep,
move? Okay.
yep.
Do
I'm
you
not
do
manual. That's what
you're
it is, I
not
think.
manual? Oh, you actually are a car guy now because you know how to drive that. I can never drive that.
My friend taught me that though. My
Okay.
my my one of my best friends. He has he's really into cars. He spent
Okay.
like 30K into his cars. And I was just like, okay, I would never do that kind of stuff unless it's like my end all be all dream car. Cause like I really want a Dodge Charger. That's like my
What year?
that's like, oh God, it was, I want to say 2012 is when I first fell in love with Dodge,
Oh,
because like the Charger
beautiful
editions.
cars. Beautiful
Yeah,
cars.
and
2012.
it was funny because it was in a Black Ops 2 ad.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, look at that car. That's cool. Cause it had the lines down the center. So the
Yep.
whole time I thought it was like, oh, it's the Black Ops 2 car. Um,
Do you like the Chevy Camaro as well?
yeah.
Dude, big thanks to Transformers, of course, but the Camaro in 2012, I had a couple of really lucky students at my high school that their
Mhm.
parents would just buy them things, and they're wealthy, so they drove up with this beautiful black Camaro, and all I thought was, I will never be able to have that car. I will never, my entire lifetime. Maybe if it's like just run down, has nothing left to live for, and then given out for like this cheap ass price. That's the only way I could drive that
Hmm.
car. but there is no possible way I am buying a car as smooth and slick as one of those cars. Like, it is so good looking. My dream car is still the BMW Vision 2010. Boom. That's right. The one from Fast and Furious 6, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so incredibly cool. I love the butterfly doors. I'm always about that. Like, whoosh.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for that too. They look nice.
Oh yeah, and it drives so smoothly, but not in winter. So I would have to leave my state.
Yeah, I would say like because I have like I have a reasonable dream car,
Mhm.
and then I have like a luxury dream car, and the reasonable one is the Dodge. And then I think Lotuses I think are like really pretty. So I would get like a Lotus car
Nice.
because they also have like the butterfly doors and stuff like that. But that would basically be summertime, no rain, perfect weather, and then I'd be like, "Hey, let's go racing. Let's go on a track or something like that."
That's your version of Drake's music video. That's where you're gonna get that car, rent it for a day, doors up, flying around with the snow, fake snow.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
That up on the bottom now. Yeah, dude, I remember almost everything from the beginning of Drake's career, and all I kept thinking was, does anyone realize this guy's a singer? Like, does anyone realize he's not a rapper? Because like they're like, no, 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 he's like the greatest hip hop star. Eminem even like pointed him out. I was like, no, 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 no. He sings so well that he
every
doesn't
time
need to
that
rap.
somebody,
Yeah.
yeah, every time that I tell somebody where they're just like, well, give me a song. I'm like, here's Marvin's Room. Go ahead.
Yep.
Yep. I'm like, here you go. Um,
Anytime he's on the mic and it's not a staccato like then I'm always very
mhm.
happy. However, there's one song I prefer that style, and it's on Justin Timberlake's 2020 Vision, 2020 Experience, and it's called Cabaret. Have you ever heard that song?
I feel like I have, but I would definitely have to have my memory like freshened on it.
So, like the way
Cabaret.
that I reacted to your crazy verse on, I think verse 2 was the one where you were just flowing like crazy.
Hmm.
Fitting, isn't it? But that's how you feel when you hear this verse from Drake. You're just like, who is this? Is this J. Cole? Is
Yeah.
this like freaking Eminem? Like, he has such a good flow, and it goes on and on and on, and it's a pop song. So you would
Hmm.
never expect it, but that album has some really great golden hits that honestly should have got more respect, but a lot of people
Oh
passed
yeah.
over it. If they already heard Mirrors, they were like, I know the album, or Suit and Tie, they're like, I know the album. I was like, no, 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 no. You don't
And that's the
understand.
problem. And that's the problem with like most like albums and stuff like that, or at least like how people do rollouts now, where it's like they'll have like the one single that they know is going to be great,
Mhm.
and then like that'll be like one of the songs from the album that does really well, and then you have like another song that people listen to, but then those two will get the most radio play, and then people are like, "Oh, well, I'm good with these two, and I don't need to hear everything else." It's like I used to do that, and then I went back to the album, and I'd be like, "Oh my God, this has a sleeper hit on it! Like this one's really good."
Yeah.
And then I was like, "Oh wow, this one's really good." And that's when I started like where I was just like, "Okay, as not only a musician but also as a listener, it's
Mhm.
like I'm gonna give the full respect of start to finish, and no interruptions, no nothing."
Love it. Absolutely mad respect to you for that, because it seems like it's less and less today. Top 40 is cancer. It is literally destroying everything that I love about music, because
Yeah.
I mean, I don't buy an album unless I've heard the album. The only way I
Hmm.
know for 100% that I didn't hear every single song is if it's not available to find online. Like
Oh yeah.
the first couple of Eminem albums that don't exist, I had to find them on CD. I had to find them.
Right.
I didn't hear the whole thing yet when I got Infinite, and my friend got it for me, and I was really happy about it. There's a story behind that that's going off podcast, but I swear, when I have a Patreon one day, all of that shit is going all over that. That
Oh yeah,
everybody
you
can
can
hear
have some
me
fun stories.
ranting, and yeah, all of the zoom 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 make your heart go boom boom. My supernova girl. That's an inside joke
Funny
because
shit.
before we started this, he had never used Zoom before, and so I decided to quote Xenon of the 21st Century from Disney Channel in 1999. And God, do I feel
Yeah,
old.
you said that. You said that, and I was like, that does sound familiar. And I looked it up, and I was just like, oh my god, like
Don't look up any year that anything was released when they're like, there's an anniversary. I'm like, it was 10 years ago. Everything was 10 years ago. It was
yeah,
no more than 10. That's, I promise you, it hurts more. The actual number that you get when Linkin Park was like 20th anniversary of Hybrid Theory, I was like, okay.
it's
I
like
wasn't into Linkin Park yet. I was still in kindergarten. That's fine. That's okay.
yeah.
And now they're like 20 years of Evanescence first album with Bring Me the Life on it. I was like, what? What?
It's like, wait, are you sure? Like,
You like, are you gonna tell me that Daredevil is gonna have a 4K release that says 20th anniversary? Are you gonna tell me that the Hulk has a 20th anniversary release? This is insanity. You can't possibly tell me that. I get
I
Rich or
feel
Die
like,
Trying 20th anniversary tour going on right now.
yeah, like I feel like they do that. They kind of like for marketing, where it's just like, oh, 20th anniversary, and you're like, wow, that's cool. And then you sit down, and you're just like, damn, that was 20 years ago. Shit, like,
The best thing is that you're like, man, I wish that they sounded like this again.
yeah,
And that happens
you're
almost
like,
every
you're
time.
like,
You're like, man, this was better. What the hell am I listening to these days?
you're like, damn, that's the good shit. It's like, what are y'all doing now? Like,
Yeah. Dude, Linkin Park changed so much over time, especially with their
mhm.
EDM and their just extremely technical stuff that Mike and DJ Han were just throwing at the wall. They're like, let's see what sticks. And they're like, okay, the audience hates it. Let's continue doing it.
See, and I think that's like one of the biggest things is it's like the reason that I do singles
Yeah.
before I'll just be like, well, let me make a whole new album with this sound is because it's like then you get feedback. Because like if I did like a song that was like completely like if I make a country song, for
Yeah.
example, and everyone's like, Crimson, what the hell are you doing, bro? I'd be like, okay, let me not do that again. But there's a lot of like artists that'll just be like, well, you know, they're at such like a high peak for their career that they're like, well, I can do anything. And it's like, no, you still have like you still have an audience, you still have this and stuff like that. And they don't realize that it's just like, well, you know, you could try it as like a single. You can even do snippets and stuff like that. That's a good way to do it, especially with TikTok nowadays. That's a good way to promote it and see like, okay, is this, is it hot? Is it lukewarm? Is it cold as ice? Like, you know, reaction wise. And I don't know. I again, I think it's because of the status that they are that they're just like, well, I can do whatever I want. And then it's like, well, I'm gonna turn it off then. It's the same for me.
Yeah. And there's experimentation that really works in some cases. And
Oh
then
yeah.
there's people that are like, I've always had a passion for this genre. Let's see how it sounds. And it's like, you are asking Alexandria. You are a metalcore band. You're supposed to be heavy. And he's like, no. I'm Danny Warsnop. And Asking Alexandria is my band, but we're going to do some country pop music. Get the fuck out of here.
We have now switched to gospel. It's like,
Dude, I hate that so much. I'm like, please don't do this. I get it. You can do that for your retirement. Please leave it till then because oh my gosh, going from album to album, which is what I do, is I put playlists together and like just like yours. I'm like, okay, I get the flow, I get the evolution of an artist. And so when
mhm.
you accidentally have it on shuffle one day, and Asking Alexandria is a perfect example, you go from like House on Fire from The Black. The Black is like this extremely heavy, like almost deathcore sound, and it was a different vocalist too. And then you go right into House on Fire, you're like, ugh, stuck with
You
this
have to
stupid shit.
you look at your phone, you're like, am I in the same playlist?
Like,
Like did
whose
I
band
like is
is
it
this? Yeah, I'm
did it
sorry. I
mess
was
up?
looking for Asking Alexandria. I got Walmart version Nickelback. What's this? What's this? Dude,
Nah,
I was
for
so
real.
upset with that band specifically, and who else? I thought that Bring Me the Horizon was literally selling out. I thought that was their last hurrah was going to be that poppy Ammo album, and it changed. It changed everything. And now with obviously Lil Uzi Vert bringing him
Hmm.
back to the front and center of the rock, metal, and rap world, dude. It's insane. Like the things that
Yeah,
we're able to
I'm
see collaborations wise.
yeah, like I didn't I listened to Bring Me the Horizon when they first started making stuff, and then like I said, as I started like getting the hip hop and stuff like that, like my main ones are always like Disturb, Breaking Benjamin.
Mhm.
I've realized like as I listen to music more and as I got older, I was like, I'm really into like these stingy choruses, and then they get back to like the like deeper voices when singing.
Yeah.
So like that's my favorite like formula that they do and stuff like that. But I heard Bring Me the Horizon when they did the feature with Lil Uzi Vert for the single, and it was great because I was just like, oh my god, I was like, this is basically like this is what I really really like.
Yeah.
It's got Uzi on it. I feel like my man just kind of like said and then left, but at that point I was just kind of like, I don't care. Like Bring Me the Horizon sounds really really good,
Yeah. It's better
and
than his cover of what did he do? System of a Down or
yes.
something like that. Yeah. Well, we won't talk about that. It's okay.
Oh my god, yeah, and
People make
they
mistakes.
exactly, not every album is it's supposed to be perfect.
Mhm.
But yeah, it sucked too because he had one of his songs leak that was a remix of All of the Lights, but he
All of the
had
lights.
a
Dun,
electric
dun, dun,
guitar
dun.
behind it.
Oh, I
Like
like that.
it's a yeah, it's a really it sounds weird at first, but it was such like a good mix. And he did like a song with it, and I was just like, bro, if you replace CS System of a Down with this song, it would have been perfect. But I think like he didn't get clearance soon enough from Kanye, and I was like, oh my god, like the song sounds amazing, and I was just like, this would be perfect. This would be perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, by the way, all of the lights now bringing me back to my nostalgia from high school. Let's see if you remember this whole thing. Remember On Demand on
Yeah.
cable boxes? Yeah. So all of the lights came on Music Choice on demand for my
Oh my
it
god.
wasn't Xfinity yet. It was still like I don't even know what they called it.
I remember what those
Comcast.
the
Yeah.
yeah. I
And
remember what the remotes look like. It's crazy.
And so I watched the video. For the longest time, I thought there were no curse words. I was like, there is no curse words in this song because everything on, unfortunately, Music Choice was censored. And that was
Right.
my same first experience with Eminem's music as well, because I saw it on VH1 and MTV. So I was like listening to Not Afraid, and I was like, wow, he's such a nice guy and he doesn't swear at all. Like, what a great artist. Because I didn't listen to rap music before him. And so my cousin was like, yo, you got to check out this album because you love Eminem so much. I'm like, okay, cool. And he showed me like Cold Wind Blows. And I was like, whoa, he's
Yeah.
saying bad words. He's like,
You
yeah,
listen,
he's Eminem.
you listen to Slim Shady, you listen to Cleaning Out My Closet, and you go, who is this guy?
No, oh my God. The first time I heard Kim, I had to take 3 times before I could actually listen to the full song. It couldn't handle
Yeah,
it. It was too
yeah, like it's
challenging for me because I was such a good Christian kid. I was like, I cannot handle this. This is too dark and too evil. It's wrong.
mhm,
It's wrong. And now I understand it's just literal expression. Like leaving a
yeah.
relationship that did not treat you well, that does it. And to finish off this incredible interview, I want to know, are you happy now with all of the bad, tragic crap that happened in your relationship? Are you happy that you were able to create art from that transposed or transfixed your feelings into something that is truly like relatable and just really, really touching? Because like that,
Oh,
like I said, man, the first song, boom, hits me hard.
yeah, no doubt. Like, and that was, I feel like the whole purpose too, because it's like, um, I felt the same way. I always bring back YouTube, but I always feel the same way when it comes to like making videos, making any type of art and stuff like that. Like, at the end of the day, you do it for you. You know, you're making the song for yourself, and you know that kind of stuff. Because especially if there's a meaning behind it, because yeah, I got out of a really bad relationship and stuff like that, and I needed to get it off of my chest. But I also know that there's, you know, I have friends, family, and even listeners that, you know, might feel the same way that they can relate to it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I had so many people that were just like, oh, yeah, you know, this song off the album really touched me because I could relate to it so much. And that also makes me feel good and stuff like that. And, from time to time, it's kind of like a awakening that's like, yeah, you know, like it kind of puts that in the perspective like this is what I'm doing, like I'm making music and stuff like that. When people come back and they're like, yeah, I really like this music because you know it made me feel, and you know that made me feel good. um and yeah, so like I definitely feel a lot better. Like I would say like after the album dropped and after I got to make everything and I kind of sat down. What I like to do, this is just like a little secret that I like to do. Whenever I drop a song and you know, I hear it like thousands of times to make sure that it's good and whatnot, but I kind of turn the artist brain off and I
Oh,
go into like listener mode. And I just kind of like it's kind of like a cute little midnight release for me too. So like when I drop a song on Spotify, Apple Music, or whatever, I turn the artist off and I basically, you know, go in listening to it as like a listener and whatnot.
yeah.
And it's
That's the
fun that way.
best
Yeah.
perspective because as somebody who like has shot for perfection for a long period of time, there has never been a
Yeah.
moment. I've never released anything, but if I had released something, there's never been a moment where I would go back and be like, oh, that's not me. That's an artist I want to listen to. Like same with
Right.
like you said, YouTube. It's like if I watch my old videos, I'm like, nah, that's just me, and yeah, I screwed up there, and I remember saying this and blah blah blah, and I'm not going in thinking like this is a new YouTuber. How would I respond if I were to watch this video now? So
Yeah.
I love that perspective, and I'm now gonna think about that because yeah, taking that into mind is the best, just the best.
Yeah. Because you kind of have to think about where it's just like, you know, because yeah, I'm a perfectionist too, but I've realized as time goes on, like nothing's perfect. And it's gonna be as good as the time and effort and the passion that you put into it. So when I put stuff out and stuff like that, yeah, I kind of like turn it off and I'm just like, okay, I'm listening to it as a listener. And it's great too because I'm able just to kind of turn all that off so that if there was a part that I really liked when I first recorded it, which I would say that's another big thing that kind of helped me get through the bad relationship and stuff like that was trying to find self-love and like things that made me happy. And recording something and kind of finding that like happiness when like a hook works or a verse works or you know the lyrics together tie in so well and the serotonin and like the happiness I get from it, listening back to it, you know, as a first time when it releases and stuff like that, like I feel that same way and I'm just like, oh, that shit was hard and stuff like that. As like, you know, just pretending that like I'm a viewer and stuff like that or a listener. And it's great. And then too, as a listener too, it's just like, oh, okay, that was a little weird when I said that, or I could have done better on that. So then I can use that in the future and whatnot.
Dude,
But
you're so wise, man. Seriously, it's a good thing. I definitely hear a lot of like both you, Edison, and Proof. You guys all have the same mentality of just constant growth,
mhm.
constant releases, constant experimentation. And I love that. And that's the true passion that I go for with this podcast. I want to hear what like makes all you guys tick and what you guys
Yeah,
see in yourselves and what you personally do to turn your critical mindset off and turn on your fan brain. That's an awesome thing. Just so cool.
yeah, because like I know I tell that to Edison all the time. I'm just like, um because like I think we all have those moments where you know like I actually had it yesterday where you get into the writer's block. You know, I tried to record some songs and I was just kind of like, damn, like I can't make anything. Like am I going to be better than I was with these past songs? Am I always going to like did I already hit my peak? And I always try and tell people it's just like, there's always tomorrow, and there's always, you're gonna do better than you did already. Because, you know, the songs that I made when I first dropped, what I'm making now is 10 times better. And, there's always growth, and there's always, a spot to look better and whatnot. And it's scary because that is the future and it's unknown and stuff like that. But one tattoo I do want to get because have you ever played Kingdom Hearts?
Yes.
One in the beginning of the intro of the song, the one line that always like stuck out to me is regardless of warning, the future doesn't scare me at all. And you know, after a bad breakup, after any type of bad thing, I keep that mindset where it's just like staying positive all the time and trying to look at everything, in a good light, like everything's a blessing in disguise for every situation, kind of help me continue and like get over it, not kind of like stump over and stuff like that. So it really helped out a lot.
Psychologically, you also are stimulating the brain so that you're not going to leave your stressful thoughts in the front of your like cerebral cortex. You're not going to have that kind of pressure that you're putting on yourself because you're too busy admitting that things aren't going to go perfectly every single time, and that these things that take place, they will help you grow. They will help you realize things you didn't realize before. I'm sure that any relationship that you're ever going to have is going to teach you things about yourself, about other people, about how to read a situation. And it's going to basically, in the business world, it's going to make you into a supervisor or manager because you're getting that kind of hands-on experience of
Yeah.
challenging and trying to overcome those challenges. And it's amazing, and I absolutely love that this was the last thing that we got to talk about, because that's what I go for here. Positivity mentalities that are just going to bring you over the top. And oh man, I love optimism, absolutely. And dude, thank you so much for joining me. And you're just so honest and so real. I'm totally gonna have you back when you drop.
I love it, bro.
Pumpkin Hill remix. We're waiting for that. We need that.
Yo,
Crimson. Do
after
not
this,
let me down.
I was gonna say after this, I gotta go listen to I gotta go listen to the options. I gotta go listen to it.
I'm gonna bring you into my Discord. We're gonna listen to it together, and then you let me
But
know
yeah,
what you can do with it.
at the end of the day, like I'd definitely be lying if I there's times where, I'm 25 and I have like 25 midlife crisis type of thing. But at the end of the day, it's like, and I think this is something that like I tell everybody, and like it's really something to sit down and think about. Like as for me as a musician, I get to wake up every single day and just kind of hop on, my computer and make a song. And that's such a great thing. And I have, a lot of support, when it comes to friends and family. I have, a great relationship and, all that kind of stuff now. And I think that's what will help a lot of people when it comes to like having a positive versus negative mindset is, the one guy at my job, he's like, look at every win as a win. No matter if it's a small win or it's a big win. He's like, and you'll look at life so much different. And I have ever since, because I look at every single day, every time I wake up as like, all right, what's the positives in my life? And I, hold on to those and go from there.
That's some great advice. Also, remember that if you're poor or struggling in any way, you can make a movie one day called 8 Mile, and that will break all of the people's brains to actually want to be poor. There was me. I'm going to finish this with an actual joke. There was me back in high school. I saw this movie for the first time, and all I thought was, bro, I need to look like that. And so I went to the dollar store. I was like, yo, gray beanie. Where's the shittiest fucking hoodie that I can wear? I would put on the hoodie. I would put
It's
the
like
on, and I'm like, yo, I feel like this is the way to make it.
your mom goes, what do you want for dinner? Yo, mom, make that spaghetti.
Make that spaghetti. Oh my gosh, dude.
Shit.
Thank you so much for joining me again.
Thank you for
And I
having me.
really hope you had a great time. And I really hope you want to come back and just give me more of your great content, because yeah, you are absolutely in the right mindset and zone and just everything that you are going for right now. Mad respect to you, bro. And all of your passion will pay off in the end.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I promise you this. Number one, we're gonna have this again, and number two, no matter how big I get or whatever, I'll always come back.
Awesome.
We're always gonna talk. We're always gonna talk from time to time because we got to catch up, of course.
Oh, hell yeah, bro. Absolutely. All right, guys. Thanks again for watching another awesome interview with an amazing dude. Once again, Crimson Red was the amazing guest this weekend, and he has all of his information that he wants you to check out in the description down below. Make sure that you guys go and check that out. Give him all the love in the world, all the support in the world, and I promise you, just by track 1, you're going to want to listen to that album. Go check it out right now. Thanks again for watching. Have an awesome night and stay safe out there. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to the Media Man Dan podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to like and subscribe. Thanks for listening. Have an awesome day and stay safe out there. Peace.